Morning.
The September 9th, 2021 meeting of the Alabama State Board of Education will now come to order. Our invocation today will be by Pastor Courtney Meadows of the Hutchinson Missionary Baptist Church here in Montgomery. Pastor Meadows, please come and give us the invocation.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Let's try that again. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Let us look to the Lord in prayer. The psalmist records, I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from you, O Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. And so our Father and our God, this morning we honor you today as our creator and the giver of life. Thank you for creating each of us with a specific purpose and for blessing every man, woman, boy, and girl with unique talents and abilities. Today we pray your blessings, O God, upon our governor and the entire Alabama State Board of Education, our superintendent of education, Dr. Mackey, and all of those who assist him, for each and every single school district, school staff, and students represented. We ask that you would strengthen and sustain them in their selfless service to the staff and students of our state. Guide this Board of Education and our entire State Department in today's meeting and in all that they do, that they, by the power of your Spirit divine, with hearts of compassion and hands of collaboration, would make possible an educational experience to all of the students here in Alabama that will prepare and propel them into the endless possibilities of their God-given potential, even in the face of this pandemic. While we are surrounded with so many challenges and difficulties, we are resolved that we can do all things through you who strengthen us. Relying forever upon you, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States flag. Attention, salute, and pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Thornton, please call the roll.
Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Bell. Dr. Chestnut.
Present.
Governor Ivey.
Present.
Dr. McCarty. Present. Mrs. McRae.
Present.
Dr. Reynolds.
Here.
Dr. Richardson.
Present.
Mrs. West.
Here.
Mrs. Ziegler.
Here.
Governor, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Thornton. Next, we'll entertain a motion to temporarily suspend certain provisions of the Alabama Administrative Code related to the requirement for the Alabama State Board of Education to vote by raised hand, the provisions related to the establishment of a quorum by physical presence and meeting by electric means. Is there a motion to do so?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second, Chestnut.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Each member will indicate his or her vote when called upon by saying yes or no. Ms. Thornton will now call the roll.
Mrs. Bell. Dr. Chestnut.
Yes.
Governor Ivey.
Yes.
Dr. McCarty.
Yes.
Mrs. McRae.
Yes.
Dr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Dr. Richardson.
Yes.
Mrs. West.
Yes.
Mrs. Ziegler.
Yes.
Unanimous vote, Governor.
Thank you, Ms. Thornton. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
We have a motion to approve the agenda. Is there a second?
Second, Yvette Richardson.
Is there any discussion? Each member will indicate his or her vote when called upon by saying yes or no. Ms. Thornton, please call the roll.
Mrs. Bell, Dr. Chestnut,
Yes.
Governor Ivy,
Yes.
Dr. McCarty,
Yes.
Mrs. McRae,
Yes.
Dr. Reynolds,
Yes.
Dr. Richardson,
Yes.
Mrs. West,
Yes.
Mrs. Ziegler.
Yes.
Unanimous vote, Governor.
Thank you, Ms. Thornton. Item F, we will now consider a motion to approve the minutes from the August 12th, 2021 meeting of the Alabama State Board of Education. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Yvette Richardson, so moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Ziegler, second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Each board member will indicate his or her vote when called upon by saying yes or no. Ms. Thornton, please call the roll.
Mrs. Bell, Dr. Chestnut,
Yes.
Governor Ivy,
Yes.
Dr. McCarty,
Yes.
Mrs. McRae,
Yes.
Dr. Reynolds,
Yes.
Dr. Richardson,
Yes.
Mrs. West,
Yes.
Mrs. Ziegler.
Yes.
Unanimous vote, Governor.
Thank you. Item G, Ms. Thornton, has anyone signed up to speak today?
No, ma'am, there are no public speakers.
All right. Under unfinished business, is there any unfinished business today?
No unfinished business.
Well, at this time, members of the board and ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to present a proclamation from the governor declaring this Workforce Development Month. On the new business, we will now consider a resolution to honor Ms. Michelle Wellman for being selected as the Barbara Fannin Memorial Employee of the Quarter for July through September 2021. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved. McCarty.
We have a motion by McCarty. Is there a second?
Yes. Wait a minute.
Dr. Reynolds gives us a second. Any discussion? Each board member will indicate his or her vote when called upon by saying yes or no. Ms. Thornton, please call the roll.
Mrs. Bell, Dr. Chestnut,
Yes.
Governor Ivy,
Yes.
Dr. McCarty,
Yes.
Mrs. McRae,
Yes.
Dr. Reynolds,
Yes.
Dr. Richardson,
Yes.
Mrs. West,
Yes.
Mrs. Ziegler.
Yes.
Unanimous vote, Governor.
Thank you. Congratulations, Ms. Wellman. We will now consider a resolution to approve an educator preparation program for Faulkner University. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved, Chestnut.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Each member will indicate his or her vote when called upon by saying yes or no. Ms. Thornton, please call the roll.
Mrs. Bell, Dr. Chestnut,
Yes.
Governor Ivy,
Yes.
Dr. McCarty,
Yes.
Mrs. McRae,
Yes.
Dr. Reynolds,
Yes.
Dr. Richardson,
Yes.
Mrs. West,
Yes.
Mrs. Ziegler.
Yes.
Unanimous vote, Governor.
Thank you. We'll now consider a resolution to adopt the Alabama Teacher Observation Program for Alabama's teachers.
So moved, Reynolds.
Dr. Reynolds makes the motion to adopt the resolution. Is there a second?
Second. West.
We have a second by Ms. West. Any discussion? Each board member will indicate his or her vote when called upon by saying yes or no. Ms. Thornton will now call the roll.
Mrs. Bell, Dr. Chestnut,
Yes.
Governor Ivy,
Yes.
Dr. McCarty,
Yes.
Mrs. McRae,
Yes.
Dr. Reynolds,
Yes.
Dr. Richardson,
Yes.
Mrs. West,
Yes.
Mrs. Ziegler.
Yes.
Unanimous vote, Governor.
Thank you, Ms. Thornton. We'll now consider a resolution proclaiming September 1 through 30, 2021 as the Alabama Workforce Development Month. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved. West.
Ms. West moves the adoption of the resolution. Is there a second?
Ziegler, second.
McCarty gives us a second. Any discussion? Each board member will indicate his or her vote when called upon by saying yes or no. Ms. Thornton will now please call the roll.
Mrs. Bell, Dr. Chestnut,
Yes.
Governor Ivy,
Yes.
Dr. McCarty,
Yes.
Mrs. McRae,
Yes.
Dr. Reynolds,
Yes.
Dr. Richardson,
Yes.
Mrs. West,
Yes.
Mrs. Ziegler.
Yes.
Unanimous vote, Governor.
Thank you, Ms. Thornton. We'll now consider a resolution to recognize the Cash for College Awards for Alabama schools winners. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
Move approval, Yvette Richardson.
We have a motion to
Second.
adopt. Is there a second?
Second, McRae?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Each board member will indicate his or her vote when called upon by saying yes or no. Ms. Thornton will please call the roll.
Mrs. Bell, Dr. Chestnut,
Yes.
Governor Ivy,
Yes.
Dr. McCarty,
Yes.
Mrs. McRae,
Yes.
Dr. Reynolds,
Yes.
Dr. Richardson,
Yes.
Mrs. West,
Yes.
Mrs. Ziegler.
Yes.
Unanimous vote, Governor.
Thank you. We'll now consider a motion to approve the Alabama State Department of Education fiscal year 2022 operating budget. Is there a motion to approve? Reynolds moves to approve. Is there a second?
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Each board member will indicate his or her vote when called upon by saying yes or no. Ms. Thornton will now call the roll.
Mrs. Bell, Dr. Chestnut,
Yes.
Governor Ivy,
Yes.
Dr. McCarty,
Yes.
Mrs. McRae,
Yes.
Dr. Reynolds,
Yes.
Dr. Richardson,
Yes.
Mrs. West,
Yes.
Mrs. Ziegler.
Yes.
Unanimous vote, Governor.
Thank you, Ms. Thornton. Now we'll consider a motion to repeal and adopt new Alabama Administrative Code, Chapter 290-4-2, pertaining to instructional services. Do I hear a motion to adopt?
Move approval, Yvette Richardson.
Is there a second?
Second, Chestnut?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Each board member will indicate his or her vote when called upon by saying yes or no. Ms. Thornton will now please call the roll.
Mrs. Bell, Dr. Chestnut,
Yes.
Governor Ivy,
Yes.
Dr. McCarty,
Yes.
Mrs. McRae,
Yes.
Dr. Reynolds,
Yes.
Dr. Richardson,
Yes.
Mrs. West,
Yes.
Mrs. Ziegler.
Yes.
Unanimous vote, Governor.
Thank you. Item H, we will now consider a motion to amend Alabama Administrative Code, Chapter 290-8-8, pertaining to specialized treatment centers in Alabama.
Move for approval?
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Ziegler, second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Each board member will indicate his or her vote when called upon by saying yes or no. Ms. Thornton, please call the roll.
Mrs. Bell, Dr. Chestnut,
Yes.
Governor Ivy,
Yes.
Dr. McCarty,
Yes.
Mrs. McRae,
Yes.
Dr. Reynolds,
Yes.
Dr. Richardson,
Yes.
Mrs. West,
Yes.
Mrs. Siegel. Unanimous vote, Governor.
Thank you. We're now on item I, Alabama Public Charter School Commission nominees. In accordance with the Alabama School Choice and Student Opportunity Act, Lieutenant Governor Ainsworth submitted the names of two candidates, Ms. Kate White and Mrs. Julia Lynn McCulley, to fill a position on the Alabama Public Charter School Commission. Ms. Thornton will call the roll for the position, and each board member will provide their preference by stating the name of one of the two candidates. You can only vote for one of the two. Ms. Thornton, please call the roll.
Mrs. Bell, Dr. Chestnut,
Ms. McCulley?
Governor Ivy,
Ms. White,
Dr. McCarty,
Ms. McCullough.
Ms. McRae,
Ms. White?
Dr. Reynolds,
Ms. White.
Dr. Richardson,
Ms. McCully?
Mrs. West,
Ms. White?
Mrs. Ziegler.
Ms. McCully?
Okay, I'll recall the roll, Governor. They're 4-4.
Okay. Should we just call the roll again?
Jason, can we do that or delay it?
Call the roll again for a new vote, since we're tied on those.
But nobody has to change their vote. So,
I mean, somebody's gonna have to change their vote, obviously, it's gonna be 4-4, so there'll have to be a change in the vote.
We're not required to change.
Say that again.
So you're not, but nobody's required to change the vote.
No, you're not required to change the vote.
So if it remains tied, do we just go till, if it remains tied, we just have to put it off to a later
Right.
agenda
Correct.
item? We do have another one next month, Governor, because next month we'll have Speaker McCutcheon's nominees also. If you want to put this one off until next month, or if you'd like to revote.
What's the pleasure of the board? You want to revote? Revote. Call the roll.
Mrs. Bell, Dr. Chestnut,
Ms. McCully?
Governor Ivy,
Ms. White.
Dr. McCarty, Mrs. McRae,
Ms. White?
Dr. Reynolds,
Ms. White.
Dr. Richardson,
Ms. McCully?
Mrs. West,
Ms. White?
Mrs. Ziegler.
Ms. McCully?
Probably at this point, maybe just have a motion to carry it over.
I make a motion to carry over to the next meeting.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to carry this over till next month, to the next meeting.
Call the roll. Ask Ms. Thornton to call the roll.
Ms. Thornton, please call the roll.
Mrs. Bell, Dr. Chestnut,
Yes.
Governor Ivy,
Yes.
Dr. McCarty, Mrs. McRae,
Yes.
Dr. Reynolds,
Yes.
Dr. Richardson,
Yes.
Mrs. West,
Yes.
Mrs. Ziegler.
Yes.
Unanimous vote, Governor.
Okay, this vote will be carried over till the next board meeting. Item I. Dr. Mackey, do you have any public or legal information to share?
There's none required this month, Governor.
All right, do you have a report for the superintendent's report?
Yes, ma'am, I do, and I have, thank you for the time. I have a few things to go over quickly today, and then we want to get to recognizing some students. One of the things that we're going to try to do throughout the entire school year is to recognize outstanding students every month. And so last month, we had the JAG program, which y'all know we're 5 out of 5, won that national award again. And today, we're going to recognize student producers. So one of the big pushes from this board and from you, Governor, has been to get more computer science into our schools and to get students not just, learning clerical computer skills, but how to actually go in and program and do the work. And so we have partnered again this year with the Alabama Association of School Boards to produce student videos. And I say produce, we don't produce them. Students produce them, they submit them for judging, and we have those winner videos today. So before they pull those up, I want to recognize just a couple of things. First of all, thank you, Governor, and the board for recognizing a truly outstanding young lady who works in this department, Michelle Wellman. Michelle, you'll stand. She skipped her opportunity to stand before us, and I'm going to completely embarrass her. Michelle is one of those people who's very quiet, but does her work and does a marvelous job working in the legal office, helping us to just make sure that all that legal paperwork flows without a snag. And so, Michelle, we thank you for all that you do for our schools and for this department. I want to also recognize you approved some things today. We have some more items to discuss in the work session with colleges of education, but we do have representatives. I recognize out there we have Dr. Fred Figliano and Dr. Shirley Farrell from Troy University back here, and Dr. Kathy Wetzel and her husband's with her from the University of Alabama. And if there are any other university folks, I've missed them, but I wanted to recognize those folks. Oh, we do have another. Yeah, thank you for joining us. It's good to have university folks who join us for both the meeting and the work session, and they'll be staying with us to talk about those programs later. And then I wanted to say a big thank you to the board for some recognitions this morning. So the ATOP program, a new teacher observation tool that was a quick vote, and I hope that's because we've done a good job explaining it and going over it in the last couple of work sessions, but that is a huge move forward. That has consisted of hundreds of hours of educators across the state working on developing a new updated teacher observation system. And they are right now, principals and assistant principals across the state, doing that training this fall so that can be implemented in 2022 under the new federal guidelines. And then Workforce Development Month. I just quickly draw your attention back to that resolution that you approved. And I'm going to read off a piece of that. I had it marked in my book. But we need to realize how much, as the governor, of course, this morning did her own proclamation on Workforce Development Month, but on the second page, the last whereas, with the governor's proclamation and your proclamation, this is Workforce Appreciation Month. We have over 8,700 of our high school students in 267 different high schools and career tech centers that are involved in work-based learning. And they, last year, not in school, but in jobs, they worked 4.4 million hours, earning over $40.5 million, impacting Alabama's economy $284 million. So work-based learning, when we say it, it's not just something we talk about, it's something we do. And my appreciation of Dr. Jimmy Hull and the folks in workforce development, Nick Moore in your office, Governor, who works closely with them, and all of our partners at post-secondary, the WIOA, the Workforce Council, and so many others who make sure that we push this forward, continuing to offer these opportunities to our young people. And then, of course, Cash for College, we had some outstanding school counselors again, and other people I know, but really those counselors take the lead to make sure that our students are applying and getting those dollars for scholarships and Pell Grants and opportunities to go to school. And you have those listed in there. I mean, some of them are 100%. They've made sure that every child fills out the FAFSA, that they are getting truly tens of millions of dollars in scholarship and grant money because of the work of our school counselors, our career coaches, and all the people that support them. I realize that. There are principals and teachers and mentors that also help with that. So those are all just, to me, they're wonderful items, even during this pandemic, that the board continues to push forward to support children in high schools. And that workforce number says it all. It is making a difference in the lives of children and in the economy of our state. So with that, Governor, I would like to just conclude my report by turning it over to Dr. Sibley and his crew, and I think they're pulling it up. Now, we'll be able to see this on the screens in front of you, and Ms. McCrae should be able to see it on her screen at home, and then the audience should be able to see it, I think, right behind me. Is that right? Dr. Sibley says that's right. So take it away.
Career, military, college. What is your road to success? Showcase the ways your school helps you achieve success by entering your video in the Alabama Association of School Boards 10th Annual Statewide Video Contest. We are accepting entries from Alabama Public Schools, grades 4 through 12. All content should be original and student-produced. 4 lucky winners will take home over $3,000 in prizes. Submission deadline is April 23rd, 2021. To learn more, go to alabamaschoolboards.org or call 1-800-562-0601. Sponsored by the Alabama Association of School Boards, Fairbanks LLC, Alabama Public Television, and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
There are many roads to success, and this is mine. From my first day of school to my last. In every failure and in every success. The road wasn't easy, but it was worth it. Remember, what you do matters.
At Section, the door of opportunity is always open.
I may be small, but I have big dreams for the future. I'm not sure what I want to do, but I know there will always be someone there to help me.
The teachers and staff help make these dreams a reality.
Whether it's going to college or joining the workforce,
Students are guided by a knowledgeable and caring staff who are always there. The road to success begins at my school.
My school.
my school.
It begins at my school.
The road to success begins at Section High School.
Here at Central High School, our students are able to pursue their desired path in our many programs, such as athletics, TV and editing programs, theater, AP classes, engineering, shop classes, culinary, band, and healthcare. Central High School is proud to present our students with many opportunities for their personal roads to success.
Success. The accomplishment of a goal. Success isn't just about being on top, it's about reaching your goals and finding your purpose, seeing your potential, and becoming the best you can be. At SGS, we see that the future is now. What are you waiting for?
You can be a programmer and use technology to pave new roads. Or maybe you want to be a scientist and study humans, plants, or animals. Or a writer and express yourself through words.
You can be an artist, an actress, or a musician. Don't be afraid to express yourself.
You can be an engineer and invent new things to help the world around you, or an athlete and work to win. Whatever you do it for you. Make your future self proud.
So what does your road to success look like?
And there they are. Yes, sir. Now that is the work that we talk about and all the work that y'all do in action in our schools. And very proud of those students. And if you didn't see one of your schools up there, then go back and let's push it out. I'd like to make it hard on the judges and have 1,300 entries next year. And that, Governor, concludes my report.
Well, thank you, Dr. Mackey. The next elementary and secondary education meeting of the Alabama State Board of Education will be held on Thursday, October 14, 2021 at 10 a.m. in the Gordon Persons Building auditorium, and the work session will immediately follow the board meeting in room P103 in the Gordon Persons Building. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Each board member will indicate his or her vote when called upon by saying yes or no. Ms. Thornton will please call the roll.
Mrs. Bell, Dr. Chestnut.
Yes.
The Governor Ivy,
Yes.
Dr. McCarty. Yes. Mrs. McRae,
Yes.
Dr. Reynolds,
Yes.
Dr. Richardson,
Yes.
Mrs. West,
Yes.
Mrs. Ziegler.
Yes.
Unanimous vote, Governor.
Thank you. We are now adjourned.